a little short. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tallie Van Vuren, and I'm the staff attorney for YWCA Access York. The YWCA as a whole has a longer mission statement than this, but our main mission is to eliminate racism and empower women. And the way we do that is through our resources. We have tons of resources at the YWCA, including a 24-hour hotline. We have a 30-day shelter. We have counseling services, support groups, housing, education advocates, child advocates, medical advocates, human trafficking advocates, and of course the legal services that we're here to talk about today. It's important to mention that all of our services are confidential and free to domestic violence and sexual assault victims. In the legal department, when I say legal department, we are very small. You are looking at the staff attorney and my lovely paralegal right there. We are both full-time, but that's who we have as of now. Under the grant we currently have, we are only allowed to serve domestic violence victims. In doing so, we also have a poverty guideline. We look at the size of the family unit and the yearly income, and the people we serve have to be in the 235th percentile. Domestic violence. When you think of domestic violence, a lot of people think, automatically it's physical violence. Someone hitting someone else, someone kicking someone else. And that is included, but it can be sexual, it can be emotional, it can be verbal, it can be financial, it can be sexual. There's a lot of different varieties that are included in domestic violence, a lot of varieties of abuse. So a lot of people don't seek our help at first because they don't realize what they're experiencing is necessarily domestic violence. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have been victims of physical violence by an intimate partner. Just in the United States alone, U.S. women, 1 in 4 are victims of domestic violence, and 3 women in the United States every day are murdered because of domestic violence. 1 in 6 have survived attempted or completed sexual assaults. And 1 in 5 children are exposed to intimate partner violence each year. With that being said, the legal services that we provide to the domestic violence victims include custody, divorce, protection from abuse orders, child support, spousal support, and any other matters that are related to domestic violence. So, for example, landlord-tenant. If you are kicked out of your apartment because of a noise complaint because your partner was physically abusive and it was loud, we might be able to help with that because it's related to domestic violence. If you need a quitclaim deed, we might be able to help with that as long as you know your abuser and you share the home together. We also, in the legal department, we not only help with legal services, but we make sure you get what you need. We meet you where you are. So, for example, we have a client right now, she couldn't afford dog food. So we got dog food donated to her. We helped her with support, spousal support, custody. We're helping with her divorce now, and we just put her and her children on the Christmas list, so that way they will have presents for her and her family. How we take on the cases, it really depends on the facts of the case. You have to qualify. We're grant funded. So it has to be domestic violence, and you have to be in that poverty guideline. With that being said, it also depends on the expectations of the client. If you come in and you say, I want sole custody of my children, and there's been no violence towards the child, and they're not willing to budge, it's hard to represent on that. It's hard to explain to them that their expectations are not realistic. We try our best, but the law is not always our friend, especially in the domestic violence community. It also depends on our caseload. So if I have 15 cases and I have 1 case that comes and who really needs me, if it's going to take away from my other 15 cases, I'm not going to take it. It's not fair to my other clients. It's first come, first served basis. With that being said, we do try our best to make sure people do get the help they need. So if this person really needs, they come, we can't take them, we make sure that we refer them to someone who can help them. We never want someone leaving, not having some sort of resource. We do have a case priority in our office. The first one is emergencies. So if the client is about to be homeless, if the defendant doesn't necessarily, there's a repeated occurrence of not listening to the law, ICCs, things like that. Next, we look at whether or not children are involved. Then we go to support, divorce, and immigration. And the reason it's in that order is because there are other resources for immigration and things like that. We want to make sure that we're really filling in the gaps of resources that aren't available. So we would like to help those areas first, and then go to the others. How we get our clients is through a referral form. So you have to contact a YWCA advocate. That could be a legal advocate, that could be a child advocate, it doesn't matter. Just an advocate in general. They fill out a civil legal representation referral form. Say that 5 times fast. And then my handy dandy paralegal and I go through the intake process. The reason they have to go through that is because we have an ETO system. We have a lot of abusers that use the system and make it so their victims are not able to use our services. So we go in our system and make sure that they are not an abuser. We make sure we look at everything, their criminal history, if they've had any other cases, anything like that. But we do have a lot of abusers that use the system to help to make sure that their victims do not get help. We respond to all of the referrals within 48 business hours. And it's very important to note that if the client needs a PFA, you do not fill out a referral. They need to go to the PFA office first. The PFA office advocates will fill out a legal representation referral form. And it's important because a PFA needs to be done immediately. A lot of the judges want to see the standard that they're in immediate fear of imminent bodily harm. And if they're waiting a week and we're playing phone tag and I can't get a hold of them, it's not keeping the client safe. So YWCA also has a staff at the PFA office with legal advocates that do an intake with them. They can help them write the petition. They can accompany them to the ex parte hearing and final hearing, the preliminary hearings if there are any ICCs, and even the police station if it is a sexual assault and they need to report a rape or anything like that and they need some sort of support. We have advocates that will go with you. Like I said in the beginning, any part of the YWCA, we try to look at the person as a whole. We meet them where they are. So even in the legal department, we are not just a legal department, and we pride ourselves on that. If you need clothing, if you need food, I will get you those resources. If you need custody, I'm also here for that. We meet them where they are, and we try to empower them to take a hold of their lives and to be a productive member of society and basically to recover from all the trauma that they have experienced. This is our contact information, and we will do questions at the end. I thank you for your time.